Hello everybody. So today I'm actually doing something fairly unique for my channel. I figured I would actually take people a little bit through my process of making decisions and events for my Supernations mod. And so of course you can see kind of what I have going here, and you can see the current state of my Novus Imperium Romanum playthrough. There's been a few things added since, of course, the current version of the mod that's uploaded on ModDB. But what I'm going to do today is actually show myself doing a decision that will give the Novus Imperium Romanum a decision to get cores all across France to take Gaul, as well as making them declare war and start. Well, basically what's end up going to being, we're going to end up being the Great War between the Franco-British Union as well as Novus Imperium Romanum. Though it's not going to be a great war considering the fact that we do have a ton of infamy here. But regardless, that is sort of the end game position that I want the campaign to take. So everything else is kind of done here. The Nubian Kingdom, I did already fix it, so it is going to spawn in as a vassal of the Novus Imperium Romanum, a client state, so that's going to be there regardless. I'm going to need to fix the fact that it's not spawning in as civilized. In fact, I'm not sure if I already did that or not. So I don't think I did, but I have an easy way of doing it because for some reason Victoria 2 has a weird way of handling these released custom nations where they don't spawn in. Well, actually, it already has a way. So basically when an uncivilized nation or a nation is released into Victoria 2, what Victoria 2 does is spawns an event that civilizes them. So I kind of made my own sort of method of doing that as well to ensure that each of these custom nations that are spawned in will have all the text necessary. I'm pretty sure I scrolled past it because I do not see where the event is. Or the decision. Because what I do, I mean, it's fairly easy process. Maybe it's on my, might be my events folder actually. So let's go ahead and find that. So what I'm using right now is a Ceres code editor. I used to use WordPad for all my little modding stuff, but I realized that this actually has it organized a little bit better. So I prefer using this. Let's go ahead and see here. I'm gonna run down to Supernation Events Italy. Open that up if I can. Why are you not opening up? Oh no, you are opened. Sorry, my bad. Anyways, towards the bottom here should be the event I'm looking for. That's Tripoli Revolt, Rise of the British Union. Where is it? Okay, so here we are. So there's going to be a few events I'm going to take here. So first off, if you look at my custom nation of Nubian, I probably should have done it where I showed you how to make a nation. I'll do that a little bit later on. But I'm going to need to basically give them cultures. Because when they spawn into the game, the cultures that you set up for the nation in the nation's country tag and stuff in the mod files doesn't load up if it's a releasable nation. If you have the nation spawn in the beginning of the game, like it's already there on the map, then it will. But if you don't, then it will spawn with no culture. And so what I have to do, or what I've done, is I've taken, or I've programmed this event in, which I'm going to switch over to our primary mod folder that we're document we're working on today. And we're going to actually just spawn that in just down here. I'm going to make that, there we go. And integrate the Nubian population. All I have to do, well, I'm just switching the tags here. DBF, because that's the country tag for Nubian Confederation. This is super quick, and so it shouldn't take too much away from the main purpose of this video. Let's go ahead and do that, the Nubian Federation population. And then add accepted cultures. So what cultures do we need them to accept? So Hungarian, for one. In fact, that's gonna be their primary culture. Primary culture right here is gonna be Hungarian. Romanian is going to be one, and I think we'll probably do Slovak as the third one and leave it at that for this nation. Yeah, so Romanian and Slovak. Let's go back down here. Romanian. Oop. Did not mean to do that. Do not do that to me. I like it because like it kind of reads like this software, this document or app I'm using to code. It learns the codes that I program to the point where I can kind of just put them back in whenever I need them. So I were to like do add accepted culture, like it pops up right there, add casus belli or add core. So it's kind of convenient, but in some ways it's not because I'm trying to type something and it doesn't think I'm doing it right. So we're going to do Slovak. And so then we just need to change this. And so this actually triggers it so the nation spawns or fires this event right here. And what that event does is it's a vanilla Victoria 2 event and just basically gives them a bunch of technology. So don't spawn in with 0% 0% civilization progress. They already have 50%, so I'm not sure if that's accurate. That's how it's supposed to work. I might just be talking and not actually saying anything useful. But here we go. So we got that in, and that's already done. So if I were to go ahead and save this and load this back up, you'll see. All right, so here we are. We're loading back into the game. And so what I did also is that because in this specific test run, with the Nubian Federation or Kingdom, I guess, it kind of depends on what ruling party or form of government they have. They will change their name, but basically they'll have a decision to annex Budapest, because in this case what happens is when you're trying to form this, it gains you a bunch of liberate country casus belli against all the countries who possess land owned by the Nubian or Kingdom. And so what that does is that you can just go to war, but what happens is that they don't actually annex the capital province of Hungary. So I made it so it automatically annexes it in the event it does so. And Kingdom of Parthia. Oh yeah, right. This has nothing to do with the mod at all, but I'm doing that anyways. So what you'll see here is that if I skip a day, it should immediately have it. Yep, there it is. So it comes in as a decision that the Nubian Kingdom can take to add those countries as both their primary culture and their secondary cultures. And so it works out. They're civil uncivilized kingdom. They're at 40%. They were at 50% before, but I guess they're at 40% now. Probably because that decision, what it does is it must make it so they stay at 40%. So what we're going to do now for this, I feel like I'm actually kind of changing the way that this Let's Play was supposed to go. So let's see. This Let's Play. Did I say Let's Play? I meant like this video. We are going to go ahead and go back to the primary Supernations file where it had our Japanese playthrough. And so we're going to go down to... See, this is one of them. And so this is kind of what I'm actually going to use. Is the Sponsored Research Institute's decision. Where basically what it does is it gives years of research. So that's only if they become civilized. So I'll need this event, as well as... I don't know if I want this one. What I want to do... I thought I had done it, which might be a good opportunity to show you. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is obviously going to put this event in. Put this back. So we can just do... Roman Sponsored Research Institutes. I'm just going to do DBF because those other two countries that you saw on the main map here, I'll show you. So you have the African Kingdom. I spelled it wrong on purpose. Yeah, anyways. And then you have the Kingdom of Parthia. And so those two nations are both in Africa and the Middle East. I made it so they didn't spawn in civilized on purpose. The Imperium or the Kingdom of Parthia actually civilized pretty quickly, but I made it on purpose so they don't actually spawn in as civilized because these are more uncivilized areas of the map. As you can see, the African Kingdom is on par with these African nations, and intentionally or previously the Kingdom of Parthia was on par with these nations on the map. And there's actually, I gotta do the localization for it, but you can see that there are events for the Kingdom of Parthia to expand peacefully into the rest of the Middle East. But that is besides the point that we are trying to do here. So let's go, oops, wrong thing, here. And so, Roman-sponsored research institute. So far, it's only going to be the DBF, the Nubian Federation. And so we're going to go ahead and just change that to a Roman sponsored research or institutes. And of course, I'm going to do more videos about this stuff. It's more just introductory. Kind of want to show you, gauge your response to what exactly you want me to show. I can go through specifics of how to design an event, but I just had a little bit of time today, so I'm just going to show you as I am developing the last stages of this mod. So here's the research 3. So this will basically give them a head start in getting some technologies put together. Country modifier, Japanese sponsored institutes. So that's actually a modifier. So I'm going to take that modifier, I'm going to change it to Roman. I'm going to have to go back into the mod files and actually go ahead and change that event. So we're going to have to go find event modifiers. Wherever it says Japanese, so of course I do Control F to find my stuff easier. So Japanese sponsored institutes. So right here. So I'm going to copy that and actually put a new one down here and change it to Roman sponsored institutes. So now we have an event there, or event modifier, which will now fire here. And so that's basically it for the institutes. But of course it says war equals no and civilized equals yes. So because the DBF is not civilized, it's not going to work. So what we need to do is go ahead and get them to be civilized. And I don't know if I actually put it down here at all. Yeah, I don't know if I actually did that event before, but I'm pretty sure there is a way to do that. And so I will go ahead and show you here. So list of effects. And so this is the Victoria 2 Paradox Wiki. And what I use it for is little modding. So there's effects you can use. So assimilate, there's a ton of different effects you can program into your mod or whatever you're doing for your decision, event, whatever, etc. There's the list of effects. Can I actually, I don't know if it's going to show you. Let me go back. So modding. So there's the modding portion, and you could go ahead and click full list of effects, list of conditions, full list of scopes. And these 3 are the biggest ones. I don't know if I've actually looked at modifier effects yet. That'll be a good thing to look at eventually. I'm still fairly new to this. I've only been doing this for about a year. I've never taken any classes on programming at all. I just stared at the Victoria 2/EU4 and any Paradox game modding list or programs for long enough that I eventually understood what was going on. But anyways, we're going to do a list of effects. We're going to go try to find civilize and see if we can find an effect right here. So what we want. This is exactly what we want. Changes the civilized/uncivilized status of the country. And so what we want to do is put this effect into our event. So what we're going to do is, in fact, when, oh, this is the wrong one, right here. So that's fine. So integrate to I'm probably just going to put it right here so that immediately it will be civilized. So civilized equals yes. There you go. That's it. So I'm going to save it. We are going to quit and reload. And then we will show you. And it loads pretty quick, so I don't have to really skip this part technically. But it's just going to show you just how quickly and easily it is just to get a custom releasable nation configured. So, yeah. Let me just give it a second here. There we go. Let's jump into the game. And you'll see pretty quickly that the Nubian Kingdom should be civilized. It won't be civilized yet, but wait a day, and it should immediately civilize. There we go. It's civilized now. And because it was in our sphere, I don't think we actually have to worry too much about their tech or tech stuff. Never mind. That was a lie. They did get the research boost. Probably because they didn't civilize naturally. So it's possible that what we do actually need to do is go ahead and get that one event that I said I wasn't going to use into the game. And so I'm going to check it out really quick. I want to make sure what techs it actually gives. It gives all the third tier techs. I'm actually fine with that. Let's go ahead and go find that. Let's see. Give me 1 sec. I'm going to do something really quick. Alright, so sorry about that. I needed to respond to a girl who wants to take me out on a date today. So, yeah, she's supposed to be here in a few minutes, but so maybe it's bad that I'm trying to do this video before a date and not really preparing too much. But I think we're friends. I hope. Anyways, technology exchange with Japan. So we're going to take this event and we are going to go ahead and, because I think all of these, so I see iron, muzzle. Let's go ahead and look at this actually. Muzzle. So there's iron, bronze. There's only 3 tiers of that. So it only gives you the 3rd tier techs for these releasable nations. So it's not overpowered in any way. Well, it kind of is because they're going to have a lot of techs, but it should be fine regardless. So we're going to copy that, go back to Italy, and I am going to go ahead and post that right down here. There we go. Technology exchange with Rome. We're going to go ahead and change this to DBF. And of course, has country flag technology exchange. That is fine. There's nothing I really need to change here. Yep, there's absolutely nothing that needs to be changed. So what we are going to do is just save it, reload. I could just save it right now because we don't need it on this date. So quit. And let's go ahead and reload. And of course, I'm going to do like a full video of a releasable nation at some point soon. What I'm also planning to do is I'm going to record my development of the North American Union nation or campaign I'm going to do shortly. After I do this whole Roman Empire Let's Play series / campaign, I will switch over to the United States. And so to sort of stay tuned for that, because I figured, you know, it's probably a good idea to actually show how I'm doing these things, especially because I'm fairly confident in my ability to do so. Of course, there are still things that I am learning, so it's not perfect by any stretch. But you can see here they are at, it looks like they took it right away. Yeah, they took it right away. I don't know if I put any naval text there, did I? Did I? But I don't think I actually worried about naval text, did I? Sorry, I keep saying that. They're supposed to have steamers. Wait. Technology. Don't tell me. Civilized equals yes. Medicine. No, these are all techs. Sorry. I was looking at it, I'm like, wait a sec, are these? No, okay, they're good. I was thinking like there might be like actual inventions, but that should just be an invention. Modifier, activate invention would be the keyword there. So anyways, that is all done. That is the Danubian Kingdom. I have finished this nation, which is what I meant to do. And then there is the Franco-British Union, like I said I was going to do at the beginning of this video. And I totally got distracted by looking at the Danubian Kingdom and like just saying, that is not right. And so I am going to go ahead and start with that then. So let's see here. We have the Franco-British Union. So I'm going to show you here really quick. Well, not really quick, but we have our, let's see if we can find it, because there's several decisions we've already done and one of them should be the Mediterranean. It shouldn't be too far up here. And that one we can actually just copy and paste and sort of, yeah, Mediterranean Conquest is one that I wanted. So we can take this, copy, and you can tell I'm not entirely worried about some of these little like pictures or like even the localization. I might not really do too much with, though to be frank, I might just do something really basic, just so it's not looking weird. If somebody wants to do a multiplayer game of the mod, then you might want some players to play as one of these releasable nations. So I might just have to change that anyways. So let's say, is it Gaelic? Is that the right word? The plural for Gaul? That's why we have Google, guys. That's why we have Google. Plural of Gaul. Is that even... Oh, it's Gauls. Of Gaul region. You know, I might not actually be able to find this. I thought Google would, or Latin Gallia. You know, maybe I'll just do that. Do... Actually, just do Conquest of Gaul. We're doing this in English, aren't we? Conquest of Gaul, which I'm actually considering whether I should even name the Roman nation Novus Imperium Romanum, which is Latin for New Roman Empire, or just put New Roman Empire instead of just putting the Latin form. Might make it a little bit easier. Anyways, let's go ahead and has global flag. Let's do Parthia client. So I'm using the Parthia client flag for a lot of these future missions, because what happens is that once you conquer all the Mediterranean, you can then form Parthia. And once you form Parthia, you can move on to these nations. But what I'm going to do is that once you form this, your empire should be about this size. And maybe I might just do it so you have to have the African kingdom. Trying to think about that, because the nation's going to be weak. Like, extremely weak. And what you want, because the Franco-British Union is such a powerhouse, like 553 brigades. Like, it is ridiculous how strong this nation is to counteract the Novus Imperium Romanum. And so they also have all of Africa, or sorry, India. Well, they also have a lot of Africa. But anyways, I will be right back because I have to go on my dates. So I will continue this episode at a later date. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Hello, everybody, and we are back. Well, I am back from my little extravaganza. But anyways, we're going to continue with the Conquest of Gaul decision that I'm going to do and just show you guys how I am going to structure this. So first off, of course, we have the name, title. I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with modding in particular, but of course you just have the names. There's some basic easy stuff. Usually I just kind of copy and paste different decisions I've already done. It just makes it a lot easier to write something out. So first is the picture, Mediterranean. So I've already kind of done this a little bit. So we have a satellite view of France. So I love using these satellite views just because they're really easy, just used for decisions. And so I'm going to show you, actually I already saved it, and I use paint.net when I do these videos, or these pictures for these events. So I'm going to show you that super quick. Give me 1 sec. All right, sorry about that. I just had to check something super quick. So let's go ahead and do this. So open the picture we just saved. Maybe I did not save it. Let me see really quick. Where did I save it? Save image as. We got France. Oh, it's in Victoria 2 modding. Of course, of course, of course. So open. Victoria 2 modding, and so this is like all the stuff I use for my mods. So we go ahead and find the Gaul picture, and so normal event pictures are 93. No, what was it? Let me go ahead and do this really quick. 95 by 95, and they're DDS images,
And so what we need to do is resize. Actually, I'm going to do this first. So every single image I do for Victoria 2, I always use a sepia filter on it because that gives it the sort of like rustic, Victorian era, older pictures vibe. And a lot of Victoria 2 pictures sort of have this type of color theme. So it's a super easy fix to do that to an image. So just make it sepia. And of course, our next step is to resize this to 95 by 95. It's going to blur it out a lot. In fact, let me go back and change this really quick, because we need to make this the proper size. So what we want to do is make it an even 2200 by 2200. If we can. That's fine. That's close enough. And so that's a good enough picture. So let's go ahead and then adjust the image to 95 by 95. And that should make it much easier. So that's going to be the decision. It's fairly blurry, but all the images in Victoria 2 in the first place are blurry, so it's going to be fine. So we're going to do type gal.dds, and we're going to use this as a DDS file. Yeah, so save. Okay. And it should be saved as a DDS file. So Victoria 2 modding, and we go and find it, and it's gal.dds. If you look in the properties, it should be a DDS file. There you go. And so what we're going to do with this picture is we are then going to go to our Supernations mod. We're going to go to the GFX, pictures, decisions, and just go ahead and paste it right there. And there you have it, Gal. And so when I go back to our event that we're doing, all we have to do is change this to Gal. And there we go, that's our image. And so potential, for those of you who are not aware, a decision will not even pop up in your available decisions or whatever feed unless you fulfill the potential modifier. So obviously we have to be the new Novus Imperium Romanum. Sorry, I was like forgetting the name for a sec. Global flag. So I'm thinking of making it so Parthia client will be the proper flag here. And then let's go ahead and make sure. Let's do this. Let's actually just copy the allow status. Actually, no, we'll keep that in allow. Otherwise, these we can just delete. So there's no reason for that. And also make sure that the flag is called Conquest of Gaul. I just make the flags the name of the decision just because it makes it a lot easier. But I do that so the decision does not pop up again after the flag has been, or after the decision has been fired. For allow, we are going to go ahead and make it so all it has to do is own all the cores. We'll make it so exists equals PTH, because that's Parthia's tag. And then that should be it. Exist equals PTH. I could make it so that this has to exist, and I'm almost tempted to do that. Let's also do... Might have to make it so it can only happen after the year 1900. Oh, and there's something else. So then we have to have... I don't know if I want to do it there, because I hope it doesn't, because it's an event that fires where France and the UK will combine. So Franco-British Union obviously has to exist because this event has to do with them. Let's also do exist equals, how did is it ABU? No. Is it AFG? No, it's AFK, that's what it was. Africa. That's all I really need to do there. That should be enough. So set global flag, bad boys. How much infamy do we want this decision to do? So I'm thinking that this particular decision, what it's going to do is put cores all across Gaul, the region of France. We could put it so we have cores over Switzerland as well. I have no particular qualms against that. The only... And then we can have it... We could even put it so there's cores over here too. Just across here. And then cut it off along Zealand. Right? Would that be an option? And we'll take all of Gaul. And... What? Actually, I'm kind of curious if I ever changed this. So Novus Imperium Romanum has these populations as their accepted cultures. It may be worthwhile to then put, say, a Spanish. So they're all going to be integrated slowly anyways. It'll take time. But regardless, it will happen. And it already is happening. If I look at the... Sorry, this is kind of me sidetracking a little bit. I don't really see the assimilation happening, but it's fine. So, we need all of these regions. So, pretty easy way to do this. Let's just make sure we have everything else. As far as Bad Boy goes, we're literally going to be conquering all of France. Let's do 25. It's going to be pretty big. Relations with, obviously, the Franco-British Union's going to hate us. We're not going to have any diplomatic influence there anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. And I don't think there's really any other nation that we're targeting here. So we could just leave it at the Franco-British Unit. And of course, I don't expect us to be allied with them. But regardless, it will force us to leave an alliance if that were the case where a player did that. All right, and then the next step here is to actually jump into, go back to the mod. So it's going to be under map and region. So if you look under the regions, you can see every single region for every state in the game. So we want to find France. That did not. There we go, France. Pretty much every single one of these should be all of the regions that we need for this. So we are going to go ahead and start switching things a little bit. So I'm going to put this right here. You stay there. And we're going to start sliding this all over. I'm going to keep that so I can actually see what I'm doing. So France, 399. And then FRA 404. So all we have to do is put in the states. And you'll kind of see right after we finish this what the effects are. I know some people put provinces, but that's like, at least that's what I used to do actually, is I didn't realize the states thing kind of made it a heck of a lot easier. At least that they were referenceable within Victoria 2 itself. So it makes things a heck of a lot easier if you're trying to mod things into the game, particularly what we're doing, because my mod focuses on doing events and campaigns and decisions. Like, it's a storyline, and so decisions build off of each other, which is probably hence, which I could probably explain a little bit more about these global flags, because you can set the global flag Conquest of Gaul. This decision won't be able to be made again because you have not has global flag Conquest of Gaul, but you can make decisions build off of this decision. Like, we can have it so Germany unites with the Netherlands, or even Austria and Bohemia, and forms a stronger nation immediately after you do this decision, to make it so the world is a lot more dynamic for the player, and the difficulty keeps expanding as you expand, because there's repercussions as you as a player develop a nation. And so this mod seeks to sort of combine that. It's a lot more difficult because you saw, like, I mean, the Novus Imperium Romanum is a pretty strong nation, but you can see that as we were we're not going to do the Let's Play. We're probably going to do the Let's Play fairly soon. I'm going to release these set of videos, and then pretty much immediately afterwards, we're going to start the Novus Imperium Romanum Let's Play. Because I was doing the China Let's Play before, but honestly, I didn't realize the whole Warlord era was a thing And that just kind of destroyed the entire country because I should have kept with King China or the King Empire because I had a lot more cores. I would have survived and I probably could have united China. My issue was that I rushed into Beiyang China, which lost all of its main cores, which was the big issue. So I did 451, 455. I need to put a 5 there. So at 458. Then we just need a few more. So FRA 461. And then, sorry, SAR 466. Got Sardinia, I guess. France 467. Or is that Savoy? It says Savoy, but I'm pretty sure it also includes Sardinian islands. So we can just go ahead and get rid of these. We don't need them. And this one as well. Don't need that either. And that is the event. That's the event, guys. Awesome. So let's go ahead and add this to the game. So just go ahead and click save. And we're going to reload here. And so there's going to be a few other things. Usually I do the events, get all that figured out. And then almost straight afterwards, what I'll do is I will go ahead and do the localization. Though I kind of actually wait a bit. Sometimes I don't do the localization until after I've done a multitude of mods in a series. And you can see like there's a lot of mods that don't have any localization done. And for anybody who doesn't really know what that is, that's basically you making it, which I can show you super quick when we load up. It's pretty obvious because if you don't make it so decisions correlate with the text that it needs, it'll look like that. So Conquest of Gaul title, like even these, where it says Parthia Annex Oman title. And so unless you reference this with an actual text, that's all it's going to display. It's going to be the description. And so now we have the Conquest of Gaul title. You can see our little image that we put. It totally fits Victoria too. There's no issues there. Requisites, the Kingdom of Parthia does not exist. No, it has to exist. Why? Why is it saying that? Okay, it's being weird. I don't know why it's referencing it like that. But regardless, it does have to exist. And sometimes that's why like people get kind of confused because it says that, but it's not the case. And for all core provinces, one of the following must be true, owned by Novus Imperium Romanum. And if you look, we own all of our core provinces. All of this. We have to even own some of Parthia's core provinces. And you can tell, like, the Franco-British Union, like I was saying, it's kind of like what's the word? A consequence? Something that just kind of happens after a repercussion, I suppose, of Novus Imperium Romanum sort of expanding and the infamy they gain for conquering so many southern European nations, as well as, like, all of Northern Africa and, like, the Middle East, like that. It causes the Franco-British Union to form. Like, France and the UK will develop closer ties and they will form a bigger nation because of the expanding Novus Imperium Romanum. And that's sort of the case that flies there. Got Scandinavia. That's kind of cool. Anyways, Conquest of Gaul. So let's go ahead and fire this. So we gain 25 infamy. But as you can see, we also gain all of these territories as cores. So let's go ahead and fire it. And now you can see we have cores all over this. I am debating whether we should have cores on Alsace-Lorraine or not. I'm leaning towards, let's just go ahead and have it as a core. I don't really know what's, well, it is a core of France. We could make a condition where if Alsace-Lorraine is owned by Germany, it will not become a core of Novus Imperium Romanum. But anyways, so what we're going to see is that we have just a bunch of acquired cores. I will tend to believe that no matter what happens, we will not be able to take all of these in a single war. I'm inclined to think that. So we could do a second event. We can do an event where if we were to declare war on the Franco-British Union, let's go ahead and just do this. That we could have a decision in the middle of war if we are to take all of this. And in fact, if we take say, London, if we occupy London, if we occupy all of southern England, I will tend to say that that war will be won, and we can immediately fire a decision to take all of France from the FBU, or sorry, Franco-British Union. I say call it the FBU if you wanted. So we are going to go ahead and just do that really quick. And I will show you what happens. We can leave that there for a sec. So, let's maximize that. Conquest of Gaul is what we just did. So I'm going to take one of the other decisions I've done before. So through this event chain, so all of these are all events, or decisions, sorry. All these are decisions that happen as you're playing the Novus Imperium Romanum. So Parthia, what we need is, let's see if we can find it. It should be war on Turkey. Exist equal Turkey, cyclable fag. Yeah, war. So it automatically declares war to acquire all cores. So, in fact, this might be a better avenue of approach. Or we could do a decision. I'm thinking maybe just this, actually. Let's just do this. This will be easier. Easier or just more streamlined, and probably will make more sense. Let's go ahead and add this. So it's going to be war on FBU. I'm just going to call it that. We can just keep the Gaul flag. Or, in fact, let's do something kind of a little bit different here. I'm going to expand you back out. And what I am going to do, actually, no, this is going to make it more complicated. I was going to do like war plans and just kind of have it so like it kind of moves in there. We're actually going to ignore that. It's fine. It's fine. We don't have to worry about it. So we'll take it or keep it as Gaul. Flag, of course, we will need the flag Conquest of Gaul. And not flag war on FBU. So exist, obviously, Franco-British Union. Set global flag, war on FBU. Bad boy, we already got the bad boy, so we're just going to declare war for the course we already have. I'm not going to make it worse than that. Obviously, we can make the relations even worse if they weren't already that bad. In fact, let's do minus 400. They're going to hate us. We should already have not been in their alliance because they have course on us. We have course on them. All we have to do is that. War target equals Franco-British Union. Acquire all cores. That is it, guys. Save. And I think I already saved it, didn't I? Yeah, I did. So I'm going to quit that. We're going to load the game back up. And it should all be ready and there. And then all we're going to have to do is just write some localization flavor for the decisions. And we will be gun-ho ready to roll against the Franco-British Union. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really want to add to the mod. Of course, the actual Roman Empire did expand into Britain itself. I am wondering whether to make any real decision beyond that. We could make it so the player has cores there and they could continue if they wanted to. It is 1903 is the year that we're doing all this in, but I'm expecting it to take much longer for the player to actually get to this point because I did use cheats and stuff like that to kind of get things rolling. Make wars quicker because I don't really want to actually have to fight them. I just want to get the mod developed. So here it is. Relation with Franco-British Union, changed by negative 400. Declare war on Franco-British Union. We are at war. Acquire all cores. And you can see it's 100 war score exactly to take all of this. So if we do debug, yes, man. That's one of the cheats I use to make wars go quicker. So obviously we'd fight this war, which would currently be pretty expansive, honestly. Actually, we'll wait like a month for it to tick. Yeah. Look at that. War with Russia. We're at war with, well, just Russia, really. And South America. This is basically a world war that we just barely started. So I'm thinking, should we actually get it to start over here? We can make a separate decision like conquer Gaul and then conquer the Rhineland or conquer the lowlands. We can make more decisions along those lines. But let's go ahead and just make it so we peace out. And we will keep everything we've gained. And there you go. That's Gaul. So that's what the war would result in. And I'm thinking of I should probably make some more decisions that integrate these populations that we conquer as accepted cultures, because that's one characteristic of Rome, is that Rome was good at assimilating conquered peoples, accepting their cultures and Romanizing them. Of course, over here you can see that we are already Romanizing a lot of population, so I could just leave it like this and be totally fine, which I'm actually leaning towards. It did totally wipe out a lot of the Franco-British Union power base. So we actually just surpassed them because of that war. And that's kind of like one of the end-all wars of the game, of this campaign I'm planning to do. Otherwise, what we might do is just add a few more decisions, maybe expand into the Netherlands, maybe expand into the Franco-British Union, and then the player can take this final iteration of the country and just do whatever they want in the last years of the game. I'm pretty sure we will see in my campaign that you'll see it being a much later date by the time we finish that. I'm assuming right before the end of the game is when we'll actually accomplish a lot of this, because that war obviously only took 1 day. If we were playing it in-game, it would take much, much longer considering things. So that is that. Let's go ahead and add in the localization for those decisions we just did. So we can just go ahead and pause this, jump back in here, and all the decisions we just did are pretty much on the bottom here. And so we are going to have to jump into localization files. This is one of them. This is only for countries. I've already done that. We're going to have to open a new file. And that's going to be in our localization folder under Supernation Decisions, Sup Decisions. That's my abbreviation for it. Well, let's just do this. There we go. So this is all the decisions we have. We do have the Parthia client decision already done. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this decision. And what we're just doing is just going to go ahead and paste it here. I'm going to go ahead and delete the description that I've already got here. And yeah, so I'll take this and we're going to do I'll just show you the Conquest of Gaul decision and war in FBU. So let's go ahead back here. Do Conquest of Gaul, title. Conquest of Gaul, description. And you can see that it matches what we have here. Oops. What we have here. And so all we have to do is just put in a title. I'm just going to put Conquest of Gaul. Or... okay. Let's just write something out here. So I will write something really quick and then we'll be back. Give me one. All right, guys, and here we are. I got the two decisions put together. So the first, Conquest of Gaul. Title, Conquest of Gaul, obviously. And the description is, one of the greatest successes of the ancient Roman Empire was Caesar's conquest of Gaul. It should come to no surprise to the greater world that the new Roman Empire seeks similar ambitions. Old France must be subjugated and integrated as part of our expanding new Roman Empire. Let us secure what is rightfully ours. The Franco-British Union shall not deter the ambitions and glory of Rome. Second, War on FBU. Title, Forward unto Gaul. War on FBU. Description, the path forward had been paved by the sacrifices of new Roman legionnaires. Now is the time to rid the European continent of our greatest adversary, the Franco-British Union. Our ambitions shall not be quelled, for today is the day that the world shall give credence to the greatest power to walk the earth. Glory to New Rome. Oh wait, whoever, the greatest power ever to walk the earth. Glory to New Rome and glory to the new Roman Empire. Ave, legionnaires, advance. So that's kind of the little thing I'm going to go for here. So let's go ahead and save that. And if we reload, you'll see that it is all ready for those events. This should be. Oh, let me minimize that. But anyways, so hopefully that kind of gives you guys a good idea as far as how or what I do as far as creating these mods. You'll see as I'm going to be developing the North American Union sort of campaign, United States Supernations campaign, you'll see me delve more into all the aspects of developing a Victoria 2 campaign, a mod, which I don't think there's too much of in the current version of the game, unfortunately. I mean, there's a lot of like things you can do, like obviously Prussia can end up forming the German Empire, but I like the idea of adding a lot more flavor to a campaign where you don't reach after the middle game and realize there's nothing more to do, or you're not done with the middle game and you're like already the strongest country on earth. I want there to be a challenge, and so this is kind of what I've done to sort of help with that. And so forward unto Gaul, I might end up replacing this where you hit the decision and it ends up forming a actual decision or event will fire. So it looks like I already ended up saving and getting this all put together, which I could just go ahead and resign and do that again. So I can just show you guys really quick. Let's go back to single player. Right here should be fine. And Conquest to Gaul. So there we go. That's the first decision. So of course you can see what we had already read out. So Conquest to Gaul, and then you see all the descriptions for it. And it gives us all of that. And of course you have the little event modifier that pops up. Everything looks good. It's not like these events down here that haven't been localized yet. You don't see those characteristics. And then forward unto Gaul, you can see right there. War has been declared. Ave, legionnaires, advance. Hopefully I spelled legionnaires right. Well, I go back and check, or you guys will tell me. And so there we go. War with the Franco-British Union. And that, my friends, is basically a fairly extended rundown of writing events and mods into Victoria 2. The first half had to do with getting some things put together for the Nubian Kingdom, which we will be doing some more stuff with that later. Perhaps as I'm developing the United States of America campaign I'm going to be doing shortly. It might take a few weeks after we finish this Let's Play, but regardless, I do intend to release a lot more mod or like how to mod Victoria 2 videos. So hopefully this kind of give you guys a better idea if you guys are interested in modding. So overall, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.
As always, please leave a like down below and consider subscribing if you would like to see more content just like this, more frequent uploads. If you have any suggestions, go ahead and leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys next time.